assignment. In the notes I gave you standard form, but we didn't talk any more about that, so let's talk about it today, being as we are writing linear equations in standard form. Your essential question is, how do you write linear equations in standard form? That is standard form right there. ax plus by equals c. You've actually worked with that equation many times, especially when you had to solve for y. Now let's do a little bit more explanation. A, b, and c are integers. In other words, no decimals, no fractions. If it's in true standard form, you won't have decimals and you won't have fractions. We will work on those situations as they come up, so don't panic on me. A and b, A, both be 0. One of them could be. And if you have one of them equal to 0, which means it kind of falls out, then you have one of the two special lines, either the horizontal line, by equals c, or you have the vertical line, ax equals c. And A must be positive. This is the stipulations for true standard form. It won't always be given to you in true standard form, but if you wanted true technical standard form, these are the stipulations that you have to meet. So we're going to do example 1, which works off of equivalent equations. And all it is they're going to give you an equation such as 2x minus 6y equals 4. And they're going to want you to write two equivalent equations equals 4. And you can do one of two things. You can, and I'm going to be honest with you, looking at 2x minus 6y equals 4, divide by a common factor. And in looking at 2, 6, and 4, I notice they're all even. So I could take 2x minus 6y equals 4 and divide everything, the entire equation, by that common factor, which would give me y equals 2. And there's one of them. And I needed two equivalent equations. Dividing by a common factor is good. The other one is to multiply the entire equation by a given number. Such as I could take 2x minus 6y. Always go back to the original equation as well. Always go back to the original equation. And I could take that entire equation and multiply it by 3. So that would be 3 times 2x is 6x, minus 3 times 6y is 18y, equals 3 times 4, which is 12. Notice I multiplied everything by the same number, or I divided it by the same number. So example 2. So let me sketch in the graph that we're going to be using. So there's our graph that we're going to be using. And I have to write the standard form equation. Okay. So I've got to look at what I've got. I've got the point 1, 1. And I've got the 2, negative 2. First thing I need is my slope. I could do the slope formula, but I've got a graph and I can just do this. I come down 1, 2, 3, and I go to the right 1. So my slope is negative 3 over 1, or negative 3. Now I've got to think, what do I know? I know 2 points, neither of which is my neither of which is my y-intercept. I have my slope. I can't do immediately slope-intercept. I'd have to do some work on that. But I also know slope now. So if I use my point slope equation, y minus y sub 1, which we learned yesterday, equals m times the quantity x minus x1. And let's just use the easiest point there, 1, 1. So I have y minus 1 equals negative 3 times x minus 1. That's my point slope form of the equation. Now, once I have that, what I need to go to is the ax plus by equals c. Can I work with this? Can I manipulate this? The answer should be yes. So I have y minus 1 equals, let's do our distributive property, negative 3x. Negative 3 times a negative 1 is a positive 3. Now, I'm wanting standard form. Standard, let's remind ourselves, is ax plus by equals c. I have my x and my y on one side of the equal sign and my constant on the other side. So I've got y here, I've got negative 3x there. Probably move my negative 3x over here so that my x and my y are together. Also, if I move my negative 3x, I'm going to add it, which means it will be positive. And remember, my a has to be positive. So that goes away. I have 3x plus y minus 1 equals 3. Now the only thing I have to worry about now is that minus 1. It needs to go to the other side. Well, I can do that by adding 1 on both sides. That goes away, leaves me 3x plus y equals 4. I have integers. I have x and y together. This is positive. That works. And if I wanted to identify, my a is 3, my b is 1, and my c is 4. Just if I wanted to identify those values, that is what they are. ax plus by equals c. Now we talked about our special lines earlier. So we've got another example we need to do. So let me draw my graph. Okay, there's my x and y axis. And we're going to have this line right here with this point identified, and we're going to have this line right here with this point identified. And we want our standard form equations of those two lines. Remember, these are our special lines. We have our vertical, x equals a, that's what you've seen in the past. We have our horizontal, which is y equals b. So, our vertical, which is actually ax equals c, is going to be the vertical, x equals 4. Because it's everywhere x is being 4 right now. Then my horizontal, which is really by equals c, is this line right here, and it's everywhere y equals -3. Please keep this straight. Some of you are mixing this up. Vertical is the x. Think about it. If we identified several points on that line, what would be the same? The x point value is the number. Same difference on the horizontal. But I've noticed that we've got a lot of people who are mixing this up. Example 4. And here we're going to do something a little bit different. It's called complete the standard. Okay. And what we have here is we have ax plus 3y equals 2, and we have a graph drawn us. Draw it as accurately as I can. Oops, I went a little far there, but that's okay. We know this is -1, 0. Okay. Now to do this isn't really that hard, because are you given an ordered pair? Yes. Can you plug that in for the x and the y? Yes. So I have a times -1 plus 3 times 0 equals 2. Well, that's 0, so it's going to go away. So I have a -1a equals 2. And I would divide by -1 so that I get a equals -2. Well, there's my a value. Plug it back in. -2x plus 3y equals 2. And that's completing the standard form. Graph. We can also do it where we're given -4x plus by equals 7, and an ordered pair just given to us. And we're going to go through the same process. -4 times 2, b times 5 equals 7. And we're going to just start working it out. So that's -8 plus 5b equals 7, which which means we would add 8 to both sides. End up with 5b equals 15. Divide by 5. And b equals 3. So our completed equation is negative 4x plus 3y equals 7. Now please notice on both of these aren't in technical standard form because the a is negative. But for what we're doing, it will work. And when it is necessary, I will explain to you how to change that.